in the Old Testament, we read about God's judgment on the Egyptians where plagues were sent. With that in mind, does that mean that natural disasters can be a sign of God's judgment with 38 votes? And then a bit further down, there's another one which is asking about, does our sin, 23 votes now, does our sin have a part to play in the causes of natural disasters? So nearly 60 votes for that one.
Okay, thank you. This is a great question, and it's so interesting, isn't it, how... that we often, I think, want to apportion blame in some way. And there have been all kinds of inflammatory things said by different leaders about why God might have allowed a certain natural event to occur on a particular region because of some sort of a sin they have committed. We see very briefly Jesus responding to two types of suffering that seem of a larger scale that can possibly help us here. I'm just going to read some verses from Luke 13. It says, verses 1 to 5, "Now there were some present at that time who told Jesus about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mixed with their sacrifices. Jesus answered, 'Do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than all the other Galileans because they suffered in this way? I tell you no. But unless you repent, you too will all perish. Or those 18 who died when the tower in Shiloh fell on them, do you think they were more guilty than all the others in Jerusalem? I tell you no. But unless you repent, you too will all perish.'" You see, we see a moral evil committed by Pilate had some Christians killed and their blood was mixed with the sacrifices. And we see a potentially a natural disaster with this tower falling on people. Now, we don't know why the tower collapsed. We don't know whether it was due to an earthquake or because it was poorly built. But Jesus, either way, he says that these people have not sinned to any greater degree than you. But these events, when we're an observer to the suffering of someone else, this is a reminder to us of the brevity of our lives and of the reality of perishing apart from Christ. They're a reminder to get ourselves right with God because perishing is real. And a reminder that they're not God's judgment. This is not God's judgment, but judgment is coming. And one day we will all answer to God for how we've lived and how we've behaved. And I'd love to say that Stephen Fry will have a chance to rant, but actually I think it's more likely that God will ask questions of us and we will answer to him.